Look at what you've done to me, Nomura. You've made me put on my emo makeup. I want to start off by reminiscing about pre-release and how there was a lot of speculation of what the beginning would be like. Could it start with this scene with the science team? Would it show Kairi going to sleep? Have her talk about her goals or demonstrate at all what she's sacrificing to undertake this procedure?
Just start the fucking game.
But I don't know why we can't have a little bit of drama to ease us into this new story. I mean, look, I even made a data greeting about this.
Yeah, great. But this generation is all about quick and easy gratification, and we can't have anything that lasts longer than... It's a visual gag.
No. Stop that. That being said, though, this game, as in the game part, the part that you play, is really good. It's a shame that most of the game is just gameplay, but it is comforting that that gameplay is very good. Very good. I'm saying very good a lot. Very good. Like I'm a person that's not good. Like I'm a person that's not very good at video games, and I can tell that this is very fun. I have a lot of fun playing it. Even just watching people play or talk about it will really put a bee in your bonnet, like...
Also from KH1.
Man, I gotta go play Melody of Memory after this. I'm so happy that I will also make you all really want to play Melody of Memory after this. The notes are all fun to hit. It gets more dynamic when adding the jumping prompts and the double button prompts. And eventually, one day, possibly, I'll get my brain to figure out performer mode. I'll get my brain to figure out performer mode. God, figure out performer mode. Performer mode. I'll get my brain to figure out performer mode. I'll get my brain to figure out performer mode. I'll get my brain to figure out performer mode. That's it. Figure it out. Dumb shit. I even love how, even though it does take a second to get used to, the prompts will change from melodies to harmonies to tempo trackers, and this all makes for a very good difficulty cycle, so you never get bored. Brain firing on all cylinders. The environments are so fun and so visually pleasing. It's so nice to see these iconic locations again, and they have so much care put into them, going so far as to highlight different assets by having them float in place next to the track, just so we could see the work they put into them. Way to go, sweetie. Love you. Also, I'm gonna need some modders or like Square themselves to release the flyovers of the World Sands track so that I can have some nice screensavers. And while we're talking about custom environments, this game really made me appreciate Neverland. Neverland really is the unsung world of this series. Like we meme a lot about how Agrabah or Olympus Coliseum is in like almost every other Kingdom Hearts game, but Neverland is in there quite a bit as well. But girl is always changing up her look. You have never seen her in the same look twice, and honestly, I respect the hustle. Okay, so yes, I was obsessive enough to buy both the PS4 version and the Switch version. PlayStation for the theme, Switch for the soundtrack bundle. Yeah. Both of them function exactly the same, and I even had to clear the hurdle of playing the Switch version in a language that I do not speak, which is entirely doable, by the way. Well, one, I had cleared it first in English, but the inputs are all very intuitive. However, when it comes to which version I think you should get, if you still have yet to make that decision, even though it is really fun to play this game in your bed, and it is really cool to support a KH game on the Switch, trying to promote more releases of this series on this console, I would have to recommend that you pick up a copy for one of the stationary consoles. If only because, and this could just be because I have an older Switch version and I don't really keep up to date on if they fix things like the Joy-Con layout, but the right joystick is a little too close to the B button, so whenever you do the glide sections, the base of your thumb is bumping into your joystick, making your character drift, and you'll have to do some constant correcting, making these sections much harder than they need to be. You can change the setup for what button means what, since they are kind of switched on the Switch, but I don't know, I kind of like playing how things are intended to be set up, and this also kind of just transfers the joystick bumping problem onto your regular hits, at least in non-performer mode. I don't know about the other things, because I'm not good and I don't play every single aspect of a game before I review it. However, I do appreciate that the songs that you would do gliding and the songs that require joystick inputs never overlap, so they did save you from that particular nightmare. But to conclude, I believe that this will hinder your performance at such a frequency that it is annoying enough to mention. So there's your information. Spend your money how you want. Alright, so there's obviously not a lot of story going on here, and I feel like a broken record when I say that most of it is good. And when you have this little bit of KH, it really encapsulates the basic Kingdom Hearts, and what that means for me personally, the Kairi experience. Since Melody of Memory has such a short amount of time, it makes obvious what that experience is. A lot of really cool stuff that trips over itself at the finish line, and I can't appreciate all the good because I'm left with a sour aftertaste. But let's back up to the good. I love Kairi and Xehanort squaring off. I love the intense choreography and dynamic camera angles they made for this sequence. And I love how pissed Kairi is. More angry girls. And this is a nitpick, but I was a little bugged by how they decided to present the apprentice Xehanort intel to us, because look at this. Kairi gets a headache and we have this super cool shot that goes into a flashback. In that flashback, we get the info that worlds can be neither of light nor darkness, but somewhere on the other side. But we come out of that flashback, Kairi reacts to that flashback, and then we have to talk to Xehanort with so many more words to get the exact information that we just got. Like, everything about this setup seems to demonstrate that Kairi is experiencing this flashback with us, but just doesn't for some reason. And we have to get the point hammered home to us in a more boring, more dialogue heavy scene directly afterwards. It's like, pick one, and pick the more interesting one. The first one. And then we get the science team scene where everyone says this line back and forth to each other verbatim for like a solid 5 minutes. It's a world neither of light nor darkness, but somewhere on the other side. Oh, a world that's neither of light nor darkness, but somewhere on the other side? Did you say a world that's neither of light nor darkness, but somewhere on the other side? I think you mean a world that's neither of light nor darkness, but somewhere on the other side. Okay. It almost feels like coming home. That's right. It's time for a Kairi rant. You know, I wish we could go for any length of time that would make this feel nostalgic. That's right. I stood up. Now we're going to start off with Sora possessing Kairi, and I do want to make it clear that this all on its own isn't entirely bad, but as you'll see in a minute, hindsight makes this pile up. This will, however, be an instance where I will be enforcing my own personal interpretation onto everyone else, because it is the only one that does not infuriate me. And that is this. This is both Sora and Kairi equally. Yes, Sora is the most outwardly projected image, but Kairi is there. And this is essentially just the end of Remind again, with both Sora and Kairi fighting Xehanort. It's just that this time they're doing so from one shared body instead of two. But here's the thing. You couldn't have given us just a little more Kairi? You say in a scene that Sora's voice can't reach them from where he is, but then instantly have him shouting battle quotes a second later. Here's how you fix it. Just make that Kairi's voice!
Thunder! Let's end it.
It's so easy, it's so simple, it's so blatantly obvious, and guess what? It follows the arbitrary rules that you just made up for yourself better than you did! But if I were to truly get my way, no holds barred, I would want both Sora and Kairi's models to flash between themselves throughout the fight. You know, actually utilize that beautiful Kairi model you made and not forget about her 2 seconds after her 2 stages that were essentially the same thing.
Corporate needs you to find the differences between this picture and this picture. They're the same picture.
You didn't even put her in the credits like the heck you are! Concept! Money.
Also, did you notice how we didn't need to change the camera angles for Aqua's memory dives, but did have to change them for this fucking stunt?
All right, but let's get deeper into some character stuff. Something that was unlocked in my brainwaves while watching one of my favorite channels, Overly Sarcastic Productions, or OSP, which you all should be studying, if only to understand some possible references to Norse mythology and Dark Road. But I was specifically watching this video on Greatest Fears, where Red talks about the kind of stock episode where some force creates an embodiment of a character's greatest fear in order to explore some deep-seated, previously unexplored aspect of their character. And like, that's what the setup is for this memory Xehanort. Right? He is very scary, very intimidating in this iteration, much more so than he was in Base 3, where he kind of went quietly into that good night, regardless of all his convictions. But here he is in this heightened form. He is Kairi's boogeyman. He's been haunting her ever since she was small. But the only thing he really reveals is a small piece of lore, like a factoid. A trivia card. And one that we've kind of already known about for years. Like, it's cool to actually see it happen, but we knew. I was expecting more, is what I'm saying. Like, I feel like in a lot of aspects, the Kingdom Hearts story is being drowned in these little facts about what this or this is, but we're losing the emotion, the heart behind it. Okay, yeah, cool. Kairi learns that she was kidnapped as a young child by Xehanort and thrown to Destiny Islands. But what does that mean to her? What does that mean to her motivations going forward? What does that mean about her conceptions of self? And what does that mean that she is starting to learn about the past that was and still is a huge blank space in her memory?
What's the point?
You had this great setup to really do a deep dive into Kairi's character. It's a nice little spin-off. There's time to explore. You were going into her past anyway, and you still very lazily only nicked the surface. And we haven't even gotten to the character assassination part yet. Why is it that you can never follow through with this shit? Seriously, I know it's a recently introduced thing, but to find out that the 3 keys to save Sora aren't really the 3 keys to save Sora, they're the 3 keys to build a bridge in order to get to Sora, and Riku gets to do all the actual saving is so incredibly not only boring, but inconceivably disappointing. Which makes this missed opportunity what now? Like, this is bad from a Kairi standpoint, but I also want to see what Stella can do too. Like, she could be their little floating star familiar for a bit before we see her face, but... Okay. I've been practicing my breathing. I don't know what the fuck you were thinking by refusing to let Kairi go off on an adventure. What is such a good idea that Sora's gotta be off by himself and Riku's gotta be off by himself and Kairi has to be stuck doing training that we've already seen her do? Characters do so much better when they have others to bounce off of, and at the very least you should want the ever popular Riku to have some character motivated scenes, especially because people are saying he's getting stale. Yes, he had a really good arc, but that arc has been over and done with for a while now, and if you don't do something to liven him up, he's going to start falling in those character polls. Tragic, I know. And one way for you to do that within the framework that you've already set up would be to beef up his relationship with Kairi, because that also needs some work and some screen time. And I was entirely ready to believe that Kairi was on the same power level as everybody else in Base 3, where you took extra care to explain to me that she trained in a place where time flowed differently. Kairi could have theoretically been training with Merlin for a year, 5 years, 10 years, 100 years. Why would you make that a plot point and then make it mean nothing? All right, now I'm gonna ask you a question, and I want you to look me in my face when I ask you it. When, at any point throughout the entire series, does any character ever pass on the chance to go on an adventure, to help someone, to do something big and important? Nowhere. It's never. This is an entire cast of very, very impulsive, very do now, think about it later people.
Think ahead? What is the matter with you guys?
And you're gonna sit there and try to tell me that Kairi isn't close to, if not the top of that list. Like, I would say that her impulsivity is like top 3 character traits for Kairi.
Oh, but Ava, that must mean that she's going through an arc. She's becoming less impulsive as she gets older.
Having a female character become more reserved, more quiet, more demure is not the groundbreaking arc you seem to be making it out to be. And in all fairness to Nomura, this doesn't seem to be a trend that's rooted in sexism. The first time for him, way to go! Clap! As the 2 most mature characters in the series, Aqua and Riku do seem to only have that reservedness be what demonstrates their maturity, but I would challenge Nomura to this time write maturity a little differently. And it would be super heckin' cool uwu if he was able to write a mature Kairi, a mature girl that didn't have to be softer spoken or less convicted than her younger self. Does that make sense? Convicted, or is she in jail? Top 10 biggest Riku OOC moments. This is all 10 of them. I can't believe you made me watch a scene of Riku talking to Kairi like he isn't her biggest cheerleader. Kairi training with Aqua is a nice consolation prize, but I am still not 100% consoled. You had the opportunity to just let us have fun, to progress the story in a very natural way. You stared it in the face and deliberately turned your back on it, going out of your way to ignore it. I usually try to end these with a but we'll get through it somehow, you know, and I'm still just waiting to see what happens next. But I'm just so pissed. Like, is it just me? Because I feel like they trudge along so hard and put all this work into build-up that just stops. And I just can't conceive of doing all this work to just, Now, I would like to end this with some possible speculation on if there are any updates to be had to Melody of Memory. I know it's been confirmed that they have no plans for DLC for this title, but I would at least like to throw in a shout out for Prodigy CDs and Super Spaghetti Bros initiatives of hashtag Melody of Memory invite and hashtag My Friends Are My Power to try to get Square to patch in an invite or friends function to Melody of Memory's online versus mode so that you can choose who you want to verse online. At the very least, I think this patch would be worth the time and effort to put in. But if we want to make some stretch goals, here's a list of songs that I believe would be good additions to the existing lineup. And if you have any songs that you would like to see in Melody of Memory that didn't make the cut, please let me know. Okay. Kingdom Hearts songs. It's kind of crazy that Face My Fears or Ray of Hope remix didn't make it in. Isn't that odd? Isn't that wild and crazy? Dance to the Death, Arendelle's field theme, would love to even know what the title of that is. It began with a letter, disappeared. At dusk, I'll think of you. Gearing up, the Master of Masters theme, and of course, Nachtflügel. Disney songs, because you know, playing as Aqua, Ven, and Simba through the original cast recording of The Circle of Life is an experience I would never give up. A Night on Bald Mountain, and like the other Fantasia songs as well, you would think that they're in public domain anyway, so you would think that they would be some of the easiest to get in there. So those. From Hercules, I mean, I would want it to be Go the Distance, but it would probably be Zero to Hero. Strangers Like Me. The Bells of Notre Dame, because like, Be a Man. And wouldn't it be crazy if we got like a Daft Punk song? And I feel like I should include a classical Disney song. I'm debating between Second Star on the Right and When You Wish Upon a Star. I'll do it for you, Jiminy. Wild cards. I think Phantasmic would be pretty fun. And it also has like the storyline of Mickey fighting Maleficent as the big bad. So, and Dreaming Up, the daytime parade for Tokyo Disneyland. Give it a listen. It'll change your life. You know, I like to go around the world acting like I am Kairi's biggest fan, but I know that Riku's out there, so I always have to settle for number 2.